In this video, I want to talk about something that I think is one of the stupidest things about our hobby. And then I want to show you about $100,000 worth of the juiciest, grailiest, epiciest comics in our hobby, because I just got pretty much all of them. And in fact, this week, I think it's safe to say, every Marvel Grail will come through the shop. So make sure you're signed up for the newsletter over at brycecomics.com. By the time you're watching this, there will be a whole new plethora of new Grails and key issue comics to choose from. And there will be a whole new slew of stuff coming every single day the week you're watching this. So make sure you're signed up for that newsletter. And you'll also be entered to win those 2 free valuable slabs this month. And if you subscribe here to the YouTube channel, comment and like this video, you're entered to win an additional giveaway for this month. We're giving away these valuable slabs. And so what inspired this video is me picking up this collection that had, I think it's 11 of the major grails, including this little doozy right here. God, I'm shaking a little bit holding it. I just opened this box, and some of the books in this collection, this came from an international collection, and some of them are UK price variants. And in this hobby, UK price variants don't demand as much of a premium as the US cent variant. So a UK price variant is a price variant. It was printed at the exact same time as the originals and distributed overseas. And they're more rare, and sometimes people even say that they have a better color strike because they believe that they were the first in the print run so that they could be sent overseas quicker. So they're more rare and they're price variants. They are not reprints. There's a big distinction between foreign reprints and UK price variants. And it just doesn't make any sense to me why something that is more rare and potentially better color strike is not worth more. In this hobby, other price variants are worth more. For example, newsstand editions. But did you know that newsstand editions did not always demand a premium? In fact, I remember when I was a kid, Amazing Spider-Man 300, my childhood copy, which, sad story, I sold my entire childhood collection on eBay for $3, but we will save that story for another day. But I had Amazing Spider-Man 300 newsstand edition and had the barcode in the corner. Now, the direct edition had Spidey's head in the corner, and I always wished that I had the direct edition and not the newsstand, because I didn't know what that ugly barcode was. I was just a kid. And then as time went on, people realized what that meant, the barcode, is that it was a different distribution model, which made the books more rare and more difficult to get in high grade. Just like UK price variants. They're more rare, and anecdotally, I think they're a little bit more difficult to get in high grade that might just be because there's less of them, but I rarely see high grade copies of UK price variants. So here are newsstands that are more rare, more difficult to get in high grade, and they were not always worth more because people didn't like the way that it looked and they didn't understand the distribution models. But once the collective community became more aware of this, to where now it's just common vernacular to say newsstand edition, people, even new people in the hobby, very quickly realize that newsstand equals premium. People even have it, the once ugly barcode, as part of their avatar on social media and stuff. It's celebrated. There's t-shirts with newsstand barcodes, and the sentiment has completely flip-flopped because everybody understands now that they're more rare and they're more desirable. ASM 300 9.8 newsstand gets about a 3 to 5x premium over the direct edition counterpart. And so my question is, why don't we apply this same logic to UK price variants? And this is not me trying to pump and dump some because I just bought some. These are actually been priced before this video, and the price will stay the same before I did this video. It has nothing to do with that. I just want to call a spade a spade. I think this is dumb. I think that we should value UK price variants. I think they should have a premium, just like other price variants demand a premium. For example, Canadian price variants, also foreign price variants. The same thing as a UK price variant. It's a foreign price variant, and yet Canadian price variants always demand a premium. Why is that? Well, I think it's because the Canadian symbol, their money symbol, is the same as the United States dollar sign. So people can more easily say, okay, it's more rare and it looks the same. It's a different price. It's a Canadian price. It's a price variant, but it looks the same as my US dollars. I understand that. And so it's more rare. Well, it gets a premium. Canadian price variants get a premium, but UK don't. And the only difference is that ugly little symbol for their dollar sign, which is a lowercase d in some cases here, the 9D. I think it stands for Daenerys Targaryen or something like that, mother of dragons. But anyways, people don't recognize it. And I think maybe there's still a little bit of stigma, like maybe it's a reprint, because there are a lot of foreign reprints that look so weird. And, and reprints are a completely different animal. Sometimes they're decades after, and sometimes they're still very collectible and still very rare, but it's a niche market. These are not reprints. These are price variants. So I think it's dumb. And I just wonder, and my question to you is, do you think the tide will ever turn? Do you think that people will ever appreciate them more because they realize that they're more rare? Or do you think that ship has sailed? I mean, it's been decades upon decades and upon decades. And even more importantly, I want to ask you, if you're somebody that collects vintage comics and you steer away from UK price variants, can you articulate why? Can you leave a comment down below and articulate why you don't collect UK price variants? Is it because you want continuity across the board in your collection? Is it because you know that they're worth less and maybe a little bit more difficult to sell, and so the liquidity is less? Is it because you don't like that little D? Is it because you don't understand, can you articulate it? I'd like to be able to just myself be able to wrap a nice little bow on what's going on here, and just, it is what it is. But for the time being, you can pick up the same versions of these beloved collectibles, super high-end grails, for less money if it has the price variant, even though it's more rare. So that could be an opportunity for you if you're not hung up on the stigma behind the little lowercase letter d. With that said, let's turn this camera around and check out some juicy, juicy collectibles. All right, well, there he is in all his glory, the king of the Silver Age, the grail of grails for the Silver Age, the first appearance and origin of Spider-Man. And this one is actually potentially bumpable to a 3. It has been pressed or cleaned. But this one has been claimed. I did a trade with a collector, and I'm super jealous. I feel like it's been a little bit of a dry spell with AF-15s recently. I haven't had one in a while, which probably means that there's a bunch coming, because it seems to come in waves. Like, I'll have nothing, and then all of a sudden I'll have 3 copies in the same week or something like that. So fingers crossed for more copies of AF-15. Here we have an ASM 129. This is a 9.0. It's an old label. You can, it's been reholdered, but it starts with 031. I think it was harshly graded. There's a tiny little chip out on one of the corners, and I think it could be bumpable. I'm just not sure if it would be worth it to bump it to a 9.2 or a 9.4. Here's Tales to Astonish number 27 and a 1.8. This is the Sense version. So there you go. The first appearance of the Ant-Man actually looks pretty darn good for a 1.8. There it is, Amazing Spider-Man number 1, UK price variant in a 2.5. Gosh, it is just so cool to see. Also an old label and an old case on that one. X-Men number 1 in a 2.5, origin and first appearance of the X-Men. So cool to see these all together. Journey into Mystery number 83, origin and first appearance of Thor. So I think I have 2 copies of this now. A really nice 4.5 as well. Avengers number 1 in a 3.5. Origin and first appearance of the Avengers. I also have a 5.0 signed by Stan Lee on the way back from CGC at the moment. So this collection came from overseas, and if you are an overseas international collector and you have some mega grails, one thing that I've done for customers several times in the past is have them ship them to me for a store credit, and then I can buy books for them on Heritage or whatever the auction house may be, because sometimes with international, taxes and duties and shipping and fees and conversion rates and things like that can be annoying. So sometimes it makes it a little bit easier to just do it as a trade in advance. So reach out if that applies to you. Daredevil number 1 in a 1.8. Origin and first appearance of Daredevil in Matt Murdock. First appearance of Karen Page and Foggy Nelson. I love that about this key is Foggy and Karen. And look at Karen on the cover. God, she's just so gorgeous. She's so gorgeous in real life too, because I just associate it with the actress that plays her, and she does something for me. Avengers number 4. This is the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America and the affordable UK price variant. Hulk number 1 in a 2.0. Beautiful colors on this. Nice presentation. The full image there. Nice copy for a 2.0. Origin first appearance of the Hulk, Fantastic Four, number 1 in a 1.5. God, it's just so cool to see all these together. This is like the top 10 Marvel grails, including X-Men 33. No, I'm just kidding. Now we're going to transition a little bit to some cool signature series that also just came in, X-Men 33. And check this out, X-Men 54, the special collector's edition. Look at it just glowing there. Signed by Andy Kubert. I think this thing is undervalued. Look at how cool that is. Tales of Suspense number 52, the first appearance of Black Widow with the custom J. Scott Campbell cover, which I think is actually a really cool touch on this book. New Mutants 98, the first appearance of Deadpool. This one is double signed and sketched. Also hasn't been pressed or cleaned. There's some improvable stuff. Not sure if it's worth it. Love that custom label with the 99 please and the custom sketch there. And this is a cool rare book. This is Amazing Spider-Man 300 that came as part with the video game back in 2006. And this is the rare Charles Vess back cover gallery, which is more rare. Really hard to find sales data on that, but it is signed by Todd McFarlane with the full Todd Sig and the custom Todd McFarlane label. Very cool collectible there. Iron Man number 55, the first appearance of Thanos and Drax, signed by Jim Starlin. X Factor number 1, double signed, triple signed, with the custom label. Very cool. Fantastic Four number 19, high grade 8.0, signed by Stan Lee. The first appearance of Rama Tut. All right, so starting off with this sexy little box right here, and we have Ultimate Fallout number 4, the 1 in 25 the Georgia variant for the first appearance of Miles Morales in a 9.2. And man, I got to tell you, opening this book, this package, and getting this book out, a couple different emotions come to mind. Number one, it's like, oh man, I can't believe I'm actually holding it. Like this iconic cover, the art that you've seen a million times on Instagram and social media and YouTube, and people swooning over this thing, the grail of grails for Miles Morales. Actually, that's debatable, but one of the top grails for Miles Morales, and just thinking, I can't believe I'm actually holding it. And then the second emotion is like, I can't believe it's worth as much money as it is. This is a modern comic from 2011, and it's not even in perfect condition, and yet here it is, ultra valuable. This is actually the book that got me into the comic book business to do this as a career, because I remember thinking when Ultimate Fallout 4 went crazy when the video game came out, and just the first print cover A's were going for over $1,000, and I bought one for over $1,000. I thought there's got to be a way to get ahead of that, and to not only get ahead of it, but to order it as a retailer and get the original copies for half off, because the original dealer who bought this book had to order 25 copies of cover A, and they get it for half of cover price, which was $3.99, and then they can order this for $2. A retailer paid $2 for this book. Anyways, so that's what got me excited about modern comics and the business, and it's kind of developed to where it is today, to where we're getting all kinds of vintage comic books. Likewise, this super rare Star Wars, The Clone Wars number 1, limited to 1,000 copies, as stated here. First appearance of Ahsoka Tano, and just an awesome Star Wars grail. Here's some classic keys. We've got Wolverine Limited Series number 1, Incredible Hulk 181 in an 8.5. Just never get tired of seeing this. Even though I see it all the time, I do enjoy that book. Uncanny X-Men 266, 98 white, not 1, but 2, for the first appearance of Gambit, which is actually not the first appearance, but we'll leave it at that. Amazing Spider-Man number 31 in a 9.2. The first appearance of Gwen Stacy if this had Gwen Stacy on the cover, it would be my ultimate grail. I absolutely love this book. I absolutely love the character of Gwen Stacy. And I will, prioritize this as a high grade copy in my personal collection someday. But man, I just wish the cover didn't leave so much to be desired. Fantastic Four number 48 and a 6.0, first appearance of Silver Surfer. And Incredible Hulk number 180, the first cameo appearance of Wolverine with a custom label and an 8.5. Another classic key, Giant Size X-Men number 1. This one looking really good for an 8.5. Amazing Spider-Man number 9 in a 5.0. Also presents really well except for the reverse spine roll, but as far as the color strike and the creasing and stuff like that, it's a beautiful copy for the first appearance of Electro. Amazing Spider-Man number 2 in a 4.0, the first appearance of the Vulture. X-Men 25 and a 9.6 with white pages, the origin and first appearance of LT Gray. And one of the things I don't like about videos like this is I'm just flying past these books. And I could take books like this and talk about this particular copy and the color strike and the colors and the story inside and the importance of it. I could take 4 books and make a 20-minute video. And, here we have a whole box of about 20 books, and I just don't have the time to do that. And I feel like I'm doing the books a little bit of a disservice, just saying, the grade and stuff. There's so much more to these historical collectibles. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 1 in a 9.6 white, and Fantastic Four number 72 in a 9.6 with white pages. Incredibly difficult to get this book in high grade, and the colors on it, man, they are just absolutely gorgeous. You'll have to go check out the website and use the zoom feature to really enjoy how odd it is to see this book with a cover like this in a 9.6 and white pages. Fantastic Four number 8 in a 7.0, the first appearance of the Puppet Master. And here's another copy of Ghost Rider number 1 in a 9.4, this one in off-white to white pages. This came from the same collection as the one that I kept for my personal collection, mine being a white page copy. But man, the color strike on this one is just as good as on my personal copy, the only difference being the page quality, but it's just so nice. You really have to look for the defects on this. I looked for them, they're there. It is a 9.4, but it would have been so sweet to get this in a 9.8. But from first glance and from arm's length, you wouldn't be able to tell why it's not a 9.8. But here is a 9.8, Fantastic Four number 59. 9.8 white pages from 1967, Doomsday storyline inside here. And Amazing Spider-Man at number 42, Mary Jane Watson's face is revealed for the first time in cameo on the last page, 9.4 from 1966. So that does it for me here in the great state of Montana, folks. If you're selling, I'm buying, shoot me an email at brycecomics@gmail.com. Show the UK price variance some love, or just take advantage of the discount you can still receive in this hobby. Thanks for sticking with me to the end of the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.